This guide will look at some tips and tricks to get the most out of the game Core Keeper. There will be some minor spoilers of the late game resources and bosses, but I'll let you know when those parts are so you can skip ahead and remain spoiler free. Starting off, let's look at food. Having your hunger bar at maximum will give you a well-fed bonus, which will increase your movement speed, max damage, and health by 5% each. Food buffs stack for each class of food. Currently, there are 8 classes of food that can be consumed. We have jellies, wraps, soups, snacks, fish balls, steaks, and a selection of cheese. Currently, cheese, fish balls, and snacks are the most difficult food types to get in the game. They either require a lot of fishing or venturing into the most dangerous biome on the map, the Mold Dungeon. Each buff will only stack to the maximum of 1 food type. There is also a golden larval meat that is available from one of the merchants after you slay the 3rd boss. This is a food ingredient that will give you a special bonus in recovering health on melee hit. As this vendor only provides 2 at a time and there is a long cooldown on the stock, it's best to purchase these whenever possible for use later on. Next, we're going to cover some tips on lights. As you explore the world, you will notice that most of your time is mining in dark corridors. There are items you can offhand to provide some illumination, but torches are the best. If you have torches in your inventory, you can press shift while walking, and these will equip your torches temporarily. With the torches equipped in the shift state, you can also place them on the ground, which is great during encounters when enemies like to destroy the torches and plunge you into darkness. Letting go of shift will switch back to the equipped inventory that you had selected. If you are running low on torches, you can eat glow flowers to give you a temporary low emitting light that will allow you to see what you're digging into. Moving on, we have farming. Farming is very important in the game. Each resource is either used to craft the much needed food for boss fights, explosives, potions, or even as a steady income source by selling your harvest to one of the merchants for ancient coins. In every case, it's good to get your farm set up early to enjoy the benefits later on in the game. As a note of reference, the carrot vegetable can only be grown on stone, so you will need to plow the stone ground first, then plant the carrot seed, water it, and wait for it to grow. In the various stone ruins, you will encounter lots of different structures, including a stone well. If you destroy this and bring it back to your base, you can use it as a water source to fill up your watering can from. In addition to farming plants, you can also farm monsters. Grab the ground that corresponds to the mob you wish to farm, create an enclosed area near your base, then line the floor with monster traps at intervals and sit back and enjoy your AFK farm for resources. Just a note on doing this, it means you'll be missing out on those valuable melee, vitality, or range damage skill points. Finally, for farming, we have some minor spoilers on the late game resources. So skip ahead to the next section now if you wish to avoid it. To get cheese in the game, you will need to find and dig up mold ground patches from the Mold Dungeon. This is located in the Azeo wilderness that looks like the forest biome. Be warned, even with full endgame gear, this is a very dangerous biome that can kill you very quickly. The mold patches emit a negative buff that slows your movement speed by up to 70%. In addition to the mold patches that you dig up, you will need fungi seeds, and these can be found from the mold tentacles that spawn in these areas. Tentacles stun you on hit, so be warned and take a good range weapon with you and some movement speed food as well, as you do not want to get hit by these tentacles. Once back at your base, put down the mold tiles, hoe them, plant your seed, and water the crop until your mold spores are fully grown into fungi. Your new mold tiles will also emit the negative buff, so just be aware while you farm. Fungi is the base ingredient for making cheese, which you will discover is some of the best food in the game. Next, we have some repair tips. Items are easily damaged in the game, but you can use the repair bench to replenish their durability. However, scrap isn't the easiest item to find in the world. You can easily make scrap by crafting wooden tools, then using the repair bench to deconstruct them and use the scrap gained from that to repair your advanced tools. For those long explorations deep into the world, make sure to bring with you a repair bench so that you can repair in the field without having to go back to your base. Next, we're going to talk about explosives. You will come across and be able to create explosive bombs. These are very useful when fighting some bosses or in situations where you need to deal with multiple spawns, as the bombs do a lot of damage to everything in their radius. Just be warned, bombs do a lot of damage to you as well, so it's best not to put them down when you're being swarmed. Next, let's discuss some tips for bosses. All bosses in the game have an enraged phase where they begin to do more damage and attack faster. As a recommendation, save your bombs and potions for these enraged states, as they will help you take them down quicker in those critical phases. Each boss drops a chest containing loot. You can actually destroy these boxes and take them back to your base for use as storage. Bosses drop random loot from each encounter, meaning they are designed to be farmed over and over again to get the best loot in the game. You can buy or make summoning idols to summon them over and over again. For the bought idols, try to do this whenever you can, as the vendor that sells them has a long cooldown. For the next part in this section, there are some minor spoilers, so you can skip ahead now if you don't want to know the mechanics or how to find them. Currently, there are 6 bosses in the game. The first 4 are easily found, or you can use items from vendors to scan for their locations on the map. However, currently the 5th and 6th boss have no scanners to locate them. For the 5th boss, it is a purple blob very similar to the first boss you encounter. To find it, you'll need to search deep into the wilderness, paying attention for a thumping ground sound just like the first boss. My recommendations for fighting this boss include having poison resist potions, poison resist necklace, as much speed boost as you can possibly consume, and a good range weapon to kite the boss during the fight. For boss number 6, you will need to gather 10 crystal fragments from cavelings in the Forgotten Ruin areas of the map. Then equip those 10 pieces and craft the crystal skull. Finally, you will need to find the throne room, which is located inside the Forgotten Ruins. You will know when you have found it, as there is a boss summoning portal on the floor. Place the crystal skull down on this and begin the fight. The difficulty rating for this one is super hard, and the boss fight is long and in 2 phases. You will need lots of health potions, good food, a strong melee weapon, and most importantly, a shield for phase 2 of the fight. Finally, we're going to talk about some mining tips. After you have killed the 3rd core boss, you will gain access to the Scarlet Ore and resources. These are found within the Azeo wilderness. This will allow you to build automation machines to organize resources, mine larger ore nodes with drills, and power other various electrical components. For mining with a drill, you can have up to 8 drills for each large ore node. You can use conveyor belts to move ore around, and have a robot arm pick it up, smelt it, and deposit your new metal bars into chests. This level of automation will allow you to build vast networks of ore gathering and transportation systems that will have you swimming in more metal than you can deal with. Large ore nodes do not last forever and will eventually run out. In any case, you can pack up your drilling rig and move on to any newly discovered large ore node. Do note, with the current game build, the robotic arms and furnaces will not activate unless you're within a certain range. So for those far-reaching nodes, it might be best to lay down a long conveyor belt to transport the raw ore directly to your base. As a quick note about conveyor belts, they will also transport any monster that has come across the track. However, simple traps or walls either side of the conveyor belt will help to minimize this. As a final bonus, you can farm wood. This can be done by setting up roots that grow into drill bits. Then the wood that is harvested is stored automatically for your use later on. Let me know what you thought about this tips and tricks guide in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, peace. Before the outro video, I want to give a huge shout out to all my supporters, especially the ones on Patreon. You mean the world to me and allow me to keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you.